I grew up in a Land Rover, stinking hot in the summer, freezing cold in the winter. The Australian outback and the high country, we travelled for weeks, months, and years on end. A typical school day looked like this, and most other days looked like this. Since then, I've survived some of the world's biggest boardrooms: WPP, LMVH, Airbnb, of course, Amazon. It turns out that the outback and the biggest boardrooms have a lot in common. Both are incredibly hostile and both are incredibly lonely. And the second you take your eye off the ball and not focus on what's important is the second that you're actually in trouble. Here's what both places taught me. The world is getting very, very comfortable with average. And with AI coming along, AI is making mediocrity appear even faster, because AI is brilliant at finding out everything that already exists. And average in, average out. And the more your teams use AI, the risk to your company of becoming even more average is even higher. And average and mediocrity is going to put you out of business. I wrote a book about this. It's called Eat the Donkey. It's built around something that I call the foundation theory. And I really learned this by studying brands like LVMH, Amazon, Apple, and Airbnb. And they really focus on their core foundations as a company. What made them great in the first place? What made them exist in the first place? Why they matter in the first place? And whether it's marketing or supply chain or procurement or finance or HR or operations, companies should never forget why they matter. They should never forget that thread. And that thread between what should never change and what needs to evolve is really, really important, because once that thread's gone, every decision that the company makes at the top CEO level or at the new manager level, every decision that company makes is built on dry sand. It will change and it will move and it will evolve. And you've lost sight of who you are. Two of my speaking topics come straight out of that. The first is Defy average. Most leaders have never truly defined what they want to be great at and what they want to excel, why they matter in the first place. And when you look at great brands, if you look at Nike, for example, what Nike was really good at in their heyday was motivation. And they did that through shirts, they did that through shoes and all this other apparel. But they're really, really great at the motivation side of the business. Most companies forget how to do that. And if you don't know what that thing is that you chase, how do you know when you get there? Or how do you know what you're doing? How do you know what to fight for? How do you know what to make decisions about? And the second is comfort is the enemy of growth. And it's very true. You can't optimize your way to growth. And this is really for leaders who've mistaken stability for safety. I show them the difference between the two, and I show them exactly what happens to the companies that get it wrong. Clients book me because changes. Leaders and marketing people book me because they want to have that clear way. HR people, human resources and talent people book me because they're caught between the stability and comfort of the team and growth of the company. And you can't have the two together. Marketers, CEOs, HR, operations, procurement, they're all looking for someone who's actually built mechanisms, built systems to help them move forward. The great thing about me is I have the hard-earned experience. I have the corporate scar tissue. I am not a theoretical person. I don't come from theory. I don't talk in a theoretical manner because most of my experience has truly been learned the hard way. At Amazon, I ran off-sites and workshops that impacted thousands of people. We created mechanisms and systems built along the Amazon principles to make sure all of us, no matter where we were in the country or where we were in the globe, built these systems and these mechanisms to make sure that everyone was heading in the same direction. And every decision that was made, whether I was in the room or whether I was not in the room, but every decision was trying to solve the same problem. This is what I bring to the room, whether it's through a keynote, whether it's through a panel or a fireside chat, or even a workshop. I bring years, decades of hard-earned experience. And this is really important because your teams will walk away with real practical examples of what they do. I presented to a large CPG company very recently. And CPG is not known for innovation by any means. What they did was interesting. They got every global and local CMO together in the room at the same one big offsite. And we worked on unifying a focus together. We worked on building a core thread or a core foundation. This doesn't happen in a slide deck. This happens when you have a true framework and true mechanisms that Amazon taught me. And as a facilitator, that is my job. I don't want to let a team drift back to the comfortable or drift back to the mediocre. You don't want to be mediocre. Mediocre is going to put you out of business. At a recent HR conference in Asia, one leader said to me, "Your pragmatic is both scary and scary and refreshing." Kind of took me off guard a little bit, but I kind of like it because I'm challenging what everyone thinks is status quo. I'm challenging the norm. I don't do hype. I'll be straightforward. I do not do hype. I don't do generic motive. If you want leaders clapping on a Monday and forgetting about it on a Wednesday, that's not me. I don't do that. I want people to leave with real practical frameworks they can do. I'm Anthony. I'm interested in what's on the other side of comfort. Thank you.